Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Red EDC and welcome to this edition of Channel Chat. Now joining me today, it's not his first time solo, but this is Jack from Suburban Tactical Nation. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Like I said, Jack was with us here, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, and we did the whole BPEX.
Yep.
We had, my screen was full of people, and I'm trying to keep up and go, but no, man, it's good to have you. It's good to have you back here so we can kind of do this one-on-one chat session and kind of find out a little bit more about you and the channel and all that stuff. So thank you very much for joining me, man. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Looks like your garage is slightly decorated, kind of like, is that your garage?
It's actually my basement.
Basement, okay.
Yeah.
Your basement is decorated like my garage, yes.
Okay.
Big flags and everything. Oh, definitely. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
I needed to fill the wall space a little bit because it's not finished, And I was like, well, can't beat 2 flags, so there we go.
There you go. So, well, I tell you what, let's start out kind of like we start out pretty much most of these. Why don't you go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself a little bit, kind of tell us the how and why about how you got into knives and, how the channel kind of came to be, and we'll just go from there. How's that sound?
Sure. Well, most know me by Jack, and I started out my channel a little less than 6 months ago, somewhere around there. It was kind of in the works for a while, kind of come up with ideas and content and stuff, but like I said, it's an evolving thing. I never really thought I was going to do a channel on stuff like this, but I just wanted to start coming up with ideas and get into the information and stuff out there and talk with everybody else, because, we're all knife nuts, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know how it goes.
Gear and all that stuff.
Sure.
But no, I've been into knives since, since I was probably could crawl, knives, guns, all that fun stuff. But I guess I never really took knives too seriously until probably about 5-6 years ago. And I started experiencing and checking stuff out because my big thing is durability.
Okay.
Finding something that's just bomb proof, because I'm hard on everything, man. It's like, and knives are one of them. So
sure.
I'm always trying to get my hands on new and effective stuff.
Right on.
So nothing too crazy.
So was the channel just kind of a way to help you do that?
Essentially, yeah.
Right on. Kind of figure out what the heaviest duty, what's going to last, what's going to hold together under the sort of, we'll say abuse, for lack of a better term, that you put stuff through.
Yeah, I mean, like most of us in the Midwest or out west, I started out with the bucks and the buck copies and, the buck 110s and stuff like that,
Sure.
But I never really started, I guess throughout the years it kind of progressed. One of my first real good knives was the buck 116, or was it the 119? The hunting one with the leather sheath on it. I think it's the 119.
Okay.
And that was like my first real knife. Like, okay, this is what it's supposed to be like, And as far as like for an outdoor knife.
Sure.
But I never really got too serious about folding knives until I got my first cold steel. I found this somehow. I was on Amazon, and then started getting into the online stuff like everybody else. And then you start seeing all this other stuff, like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, well, I got to get something better than this. And it just keeps going from there and progresses,
Oh, yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. So what cold steel did you end up getting then? Do you remember?
Of course, I was on the hunt for a Italian stiletto style switchblade, because I was just obsessed with finding one, because they're so illegal throughout the decades, to find a real good one. And I didn't realize how expensive they were. So I started deeper researching into that and looking for the classic, side opener. And then I started discovering all the different price tags on knives and cutlery and how deep that rabbit hole goes.
Oh, yeah.
But I somehow stumbled on to the cold steel tie light.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I still have it. Let me see if I can pull it out here. There it is. So it's It's kind of got the vibe of the
Sure.
stiletto,
Yeah.
but it's like the side opener. And that was basically my start. You know, it's like OS 8A, which I didn't know any better at the time. But, you know, it's a good blade. It works. And just kept it around. And then it kind of progressed into, that's actually how I found off-grid knives, believe it or not.
Okay.
Off-grid, I think it was one of their assisted openers.
Okay.
I don't have one on me right now. I think the shredders have it. I sent it out to them a while back to check it out. But yeah, I started out with off-grid, and I was just blown away by the quality and how tough they are.
Yeah.
And now I have several off-grids in my collection now, and yeah, it's kind of where it's started to evolve. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to check out a few of the off-grid knives, and they're pretty sturdy. They're pretty sturdy knives.
You know, just like every knife company, I don't like every single model, but they have some good stuff. They have a good solid lineup. Can't really complain about too many of them.
So now, are you still kind of in the whole cold steel game? Have you moved on from that, or?
I still like cold steel.
Yeah.
Ever since I got my hands on that 8010 through a monthly knife club,
yeah.
I did an unboxing a while back on that, and I was really blown away by how good that knife is. Honestly, now it's not one I carry around on me every day, obviously, because you know it's a big one. But
sure.
Yeah, I still like cold steel. I'm still interested to see what they got. I know they revisited some newer models lately that just came back out.
Yeah,
I'm not sure the name.
I seen that where it kind of, well, that was kind of, you know, when the sale of cold steel happened and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of sounded like that was going to be something they really planned on doing, was maybe revisiting some of the models that had gotten, you know, discontinued over time, or, you know, in the past, of course, and kind of revisit them and bring them back to life potentially. And so, you know, that's a cool idea. I mean, there's people that like cold steels, like their cold steels.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with like Jimmy Slash.
Actually, yeah. I discovered Jimmy Slash over the last year, and I mean, I've been into the YouTube thing since way back, like when I don't know if you know who Nut and Fancy is.
Sure.
But way back when I was looking for guns and stuff, and saw that he was in knives and all that. But ever since kind of getting deeper into this community now that we have now, that I've seen all these different channels and different people and seen the world we have in here now, I actually somehow found Jimmy Slash. I don't know how, but he was cracking me up. And I didn't know how many cold steels that guy had. That's why I started watching his channel.
Oh, yeah.
That's he's the ambassador.
Yeah, I think here at Blade Show, you know, in Atlanta, I'm pretty sure he was working the cold steel booth.
Yeah, he was, actually.
I'm pretty sure he was.
I've seen that too.
So that was pretty funny. But yeah, and of course, you know, the 80, the Demco, he's a big Demco knife. And actually, Demco has done, given him a couple of knives to give away or to raffle off for his, the PIF thing he has going on, you know, pay it forward and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is really, really awesome when, you know, I mean, because those knives are highly sought after.
Yeah.
And
Demco recently opened my eyes in the past year, especially with his design, you know, with the Demco. I also got the Scorpion too. That's another one I picked up.
There you go.
Scorpion lock, yeah.
There you go. And now the big one seems to be the 20.5 right now.
You know, I pre-ordered from Knife Center, and I thought I was in. And I called them, and they said, "Oh, the first batch is gone." And I'm like, "Okay, well, that didn't make much sense, but I'm still waiting, just like everybody else."
Yeah.
Good news is, from what I understand, from what I've watched from some of the interviews with Demco, there's more coming, lots more.
I would think so. I would hope so, because I don't know. I don't know if he plans on it being like a short run, because I know, what was it? What they have? 100 of them. I think he had 100 of
something
them
like
at
that.
Blade Show that were numbered and stuff, and that was really cool. And I'm sure we're gonna see more of them. I hope anyway, because I know, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I haven't had my hands on most of the 80 knives. I just haven't, and nothing. It just that's the way it's been. You know, I just haven't
Oh yeah,
had my hands on
I get
them.
it.
And I mean, typically, I think they're a little bit bigger knives and probably not something I would carry. Like you said, you know, you won't carry it every single day because they are bigger knives. Some people do, and that's fantastic. But that's not my. I'm more of the. Well, I mean, honestly, as big as I go on a daily carries, you know, maybe the PM2,
Yep.
and that's not big. That's not
No,
a
that's
big
funny you
knife.
mentioned. That's funny you mentioned that because I was just thinking about doing a video on the paramilitary 2 and 3 because they are quite the essential, almost the pinnacle of an EDC knife in my mind.
I mean, yeah, you know,
Nowadays.
and I mean, well, yeah, and they are, and now I did with the Mini Adamas when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a little bit beefier knife. Now I tend more towards the Mini, obviously because of size rather than the full size. But that's one that it's a little thicker, you know, a little beefier, heavier duty, but it carries really, really nice. I love the way that knife carries, and I'm amazed at how much I liked it and how much I like to carry it just because of it's a little bit beefier knife.
Is that the one with the crew wear or the older one?
Yes.
With the D2.
Yes,
Okay.
it's yeah, the crew wear. You know, man, it really, really surprised me on how much I like to carry that knife and how it feels in hand, and because it's not my typical. I mean, even though the PM2 and then of course, you know, the bug out. I mean, that's more my speed, you know, or even the Para 3 size or the Sage 5, you know, a little bit smaller.
I don't think there's been a bigger knife out there that's really hit the EDC home run as the bug out. That thing, I mean, how many models could you possibly have? They have it all.
Oh, and there's more coming.
Yeah. And I got one. Yeah.
The first of, what is it? 1st of September, they're coming out with the aluminum.
Oh, really?
The 535 BK-4. Don't kill me, Zach. That's not the right number. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it's a 535 BK-4. But the aluminum, it's like a gray aluminum with red thumb studs, and it's kind of got like a sunburst pattern. You know, it starts back here and it kind of sunbursts out.
Nice.
I want one of those.
Oh yeah, there's a few I'm probably going to grab. I grabbed the was it the 535, the standard model, like the name of the bug out. Okay. Yeah, I got the all blacked out one around Christmas time. They had like Blade HQ had some kind of sale or something, and I snagged one up, and I liked it. It's a good knife. Benchmade, man, you know, they make some good stuff, and I'm not quite the Benchmade fanboy per se, but I do appreciate that company a lot. You can't really beat their warranty and such.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's like Spyderco. I actually avoided Spyderco for the longest time, and I don't know.
Same here.
And I mean, well, okay, let's be honest. It wasn't just Spyderco, because I didn't really get. Man, it was a long time before I paid much over $100 for a knife. I mean, and at that time, yeah, you know, I mean, you could get good knives.
It's funny you mentioned that because that kind of ties into why I kind of started the channel.
Go for it.
Also, is for the very fact of that. Most people usually look at a knife, you know, and they either grab them at the hardware store, use it, abuse it.
Yeah.
Once it's not dull, most people don't take the time to sharpen it and they pitch it, you know, or lose it or whatever.
Right.
Let's be real.
Oh yeah.
And then you see the, you know, $50, man. That's a big deal if you're not a knife person. $50-$60. You know, I guess in my mind, budget is under 75, 175 around there.
Yeah.
Then you're kind of like, if you've never really bought into a knife at that price range, it's hard to wrap your mind around people buying $300-$400 and upward.
Sure.
When you're new to the game, you know.
Of course. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is.
I love everything about cutlery there is, you know. Not so much in the kitchen. I do appreciate, you know, the fine Japanese made steels and all that stuff and designs, but you know, everything from fixed blades to the geometry, the shapes, the steel, the science behind it, you know, all that stuff.
Okay.
There's just so much to talk about. So I decided, what the heck, you know, just start a channel and kind of learn as long as on my way through, you know, with everybody else, and kind of say, hey, these things do exist out there, especially like these. I've been getting more into these multi-tools and things now that we've, the BPEX group with Mr. Dominic in there now, kind of opening my eyes up to all the cool stuff out there,
Sure. Now, you're talking about multi-tools. Do you have one that you're kind of relying on at the moment, or have you found one that's kind of suits you, or are you still looking?
Actually, it's kind of funny. I've been wanting to buy the Surge, the Leatherman Surge, for a long time, but I just didn't want to drop the bread on it,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Let's see if I know I got the Super Tool by Leatherman. I don't know where the heck it is at this moment, but I do have a Skeletal.
There you go.
I actually got that in a battle box. I was checking battle box out for a little while. And this just happened to be the knife of the month, which, whatever. But this was one I wanted to try it out. And it just so happened to be that was the knife of the month. So I was like, cool, I'm going to check out a Skeletal. And this one seems to fit, everyday needs with the screwdriver and the access to the blade on the, outside.
Sure.
Of course, they got to throw a bottle opener in.
Right, of course.
If you didn't see my last unboxing of my going gear, I kind of poked fun at the bottle opener deal.
That
was just I was just blowing off steam on that one.
It's one of those. I think it's one of those easy tools. We've got 8 tools on this thing. Well, darn well it's gonna have a bottle opener on it.
That's the thing nowadays, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, I got that, and I got the Super Tool, and what was it? The last one I think I got was the Gerber Dime, which actually for $20 is pretty sweet little.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like I think, was it the Micro by Leatherman or the
Micro? Squirt, yeah.
Something like that. I've never had my hands on those. But
now I haven't had the small ones. And to be perfectly honest with you, I carried a multi-tool for a good portion when I was in the military.
Yeah.
I carried a multi-tool quite a bit. Now, since I've been out of the military and been a little bit, working in the civilian world, I just kind of stopped carrying a multi-tool. Really, why? I honestly can't tell you. I mean, right now, I don't really carry anything that I carry on my belt because at certain times I have to crawl through stuff and I have to do things where I can't have anything basically on my body, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to take rings and everything off because of the areas where we work. And it just kind of made that take my knives out of my pockets and all that good stuff, And so that was just kind of one more thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of why I don't, or a flashlight. I don't carry a flashlight on a pouch because it's easier just to pull it out of my pocket rather than undo my belt, take it off. I mean, is it a big deal? No, but it's just one extra step, I guess. I don't know. But if I'm carrying a multi-tool now, it's usually a Swiss Army knife.
Yep, and that's funny you mentioned that because that's what I was going to go to next, man.
Yeah.
The A-locks. I had a couple Swiss Army knives growing up and stuff, but I'm really shocked. I bought this just because I wanted to get an A-locks and maybe review it and stuff, which I haven't yet. But this thing, I tell you what, I use this so much. It's silly,
Which one is that?
But the A-locks, what is it?
Is it a Pioneer?
The Pioneer X.
Pioneer.
Which has
that is my favorite. That is my favorite model.
Man, this thing, and it's built just a little more durable with the tools. The tools are just got a little more in them for strength and durability than the typical, red scaled plastic scales.
Sure.
But the main reason I grabbed this one is because it has the scissors.
Oh yeah.
The can opener,
right?
Which I actually use quite often. And there's a really good awl on here that's really sharp.
Yep.
It'll get you if you're not looking for it.
Oh yeah.
But man. I mean, I can't get enough of this thing. It's kind of funny. I never thought I would really carry one around that much.
Yeah, I actually won one in a giveaway on Instagram a lot, and that was the first Pioneer X that I'd had. I mean, I had a my first knife was a Camper,
Mhm.
but it was a Wagner. It wasn't a Victorinox, but
Yeah.
still. And I mean, that was my first knife. I had that thing forever. Beat the holy living heck out of it. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, 12-year-old kid, you're usually not, Anyway,
Yeah.
but I won that Pioneer X, and man, I mean, I've had plenty of the little classic SDs, with the scissors and stuff on it, but that Pioneer, the little bit bigger scissors, man.
And they got really good scissors. Like, the best scissors I've seen.
Oh, by far. I mean, my opinion, but yeah, totally agree.
Back to the multi-tool thing. I forgot to mention that my first one that I ever really used nonstop for probably about a good 10 years was the Gerber. I can't believe I want to say that. It was actually a Gerber multi-tool. The diesel. That's what it was. Okay. And it had the little sheath and stuff. But
yeah,
tying back into what you were saying, why you probably don't carry them much anymore is because, well, one, they come, unless they got the clip on them, they're bulky and they weigh you down. And
yeah, I mean, a little bit. I mean, I think really it is for me. It's not really the size of the weight. Yeah. It's just one more thing.
Me.
Yeah, of course.
That's just me, but
of course. No,
I guess I've kind of evolved and changed a little bit over time too.
Well, I think we do. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, well, okay. We were talking about, before I'd really got into knives, and, I mean, I had a buck. Well, that was a gift, man. I carried a buck for a long time while I was in the Navy as well. And I think that was a gift from my wife, and I had one before I went in the Navy. And again, I think that was a gift from my parents at the time, so I had really not spent that much. Now, as the channel goes along,
yeah,
and and I had the first knife I really spent any kind of money on was a 940.
Okay,
940.
It's a good first purchase there.
And I mean, that was pushing at that time. It was probably, I don't know what 170, 180 bucks. That was the most I'd spent on a knife. It really was.
Oh, and that's a big deal for your first good purchase too,
Well, that was kind of the first one that I was like, oh man, I kind of dig that. You know what I mean? Where
yeah.
where you finally get that itch, and it's like, oh, I kind of, maybe I want that one. And it, I know at one point I called it was kind of my first grail,
Yeah.
And I had somebody tell me that, oh, that's not a grail. Well, yeah, it was kind of, but it was to me. Was at the time. It was to me. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, and I got that, and then I was like, okay, I'm digging this, and you can see, the difference in quality and the difference in,
oh, sure.
I mean, you definitely can. And then I was like, well, okay, I'm doing the channel. Okay. And I broke down and I brought a CRK. I bought a small Sabenza.
Okay.
And, I'm like, okay, all right. Now,
I've never handled a Sabenza, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't even handled one.
Well, heck, we might have to change that. Now, is it a great knife? Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a really good knife and stuff like that. But to me, I'm still I'm hesitant to do that again.
Yeah, I get it. What was the price tag on that one?
Oh, almost $500.
Yeah,
they're not cheap.
No,
and they're not cheaply made or anything like that. They're well-made knives, And I'm just like, whoo, because I'm still kind of the budget-minded at heart,
Sure.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
I mean, and that's kind of, and right now, there are so many. I mean, Civivi alone, I think every other knife company could quit making knives, and we still have plenty of Civivi models. You know what I mean? The way they dump out. I mean, Civivi just dumps out knives just constantly, and then good knives. And it's not,
and they're not junk. I mean,
no, I mean, we talk about this all the time from time to time, but from that $50 to $100 range, nobody is beating Civivi.
No.
I mean, there are a lot of companies that are making good knives. I'm not saying that.
No, but no. Civivi has absolutely nailed the fit and finish. I mean, and you know, another thing I'm going to say this about Civivi, they're tougher than what people give them credit for. Those knives can handle some stuff. You know, the D2 can handle it. The 14C, you know, 28N. I mean, we all
that's
know
the
that's good
thing
stuff.
now is all the materials
Yeah.
they're using. I mean, they've stepped up, and now, I mean, well, I just had you know, the Nox in. You've got Nitro V on that one. They got S35. They're using 14C.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're keeping it in that $50 to $100 range. You know, now they've crept up. You know, when they started, you know, with the backlash and stuff like that, they were 9CR and they were right in that $50-ish range, which for what they were making, that was still pretty darn good.
Yeah.
The 9CR wasn't bad.
No, I mean, what was it? I had the Praxis. I ended up gifting that to my brother.
Yep.
One of the first, I think Praxis was one of their first releases, right?
It was one of the first ones, yeah.
Yeah, I had the black G10, I think is what it was, and I took that thing outside and beat on it and sliced with it, EDC'd it, and, you know, it held up pretty well. Granted, you got to sharpen it. I mean,
oh yeah,
that's any, you know, unless you're using M4 or Maximet or something, you're going to be sharpening and stropping often, you know.
Yeah,
you just are.
mean, and that's just, you know, and in that, you know, my progression of I found VG10. I really liked VG10. It was good for what I needed. You know, 14C is another one that I talk about quite frequently. It does what I need it to do. It holds an edge really well. I am not the world's best sharpener. I'm never going to claim to be, you know, but it suits me. It does me, you know, and then of course, you know, you've got all the 8CRs, the D2s, the 9CRs, all that. Even 12C, you know, is still pretty good, you know. But now you said you kind of getting into the whole durability, and are you exploring with the, let's say, the M4s, the LMAXs, the, you know, the high, what we would call what are commonly referred to as the super steels? Are you?
Well, I've been working my way up because, I mean, I'll be honest with you, you know, I've held a lot of different knives over time. I mean, like I said, my first real introduction to having one of my Grell knives was back in the early 90s when I bought a Buck 119. And that was, to me, was like the most badass thing I ever seen in my life, you know, just because it was availability where I was, you know, we weren't on the internet back then, you know, so that to me was like, this is the iconic thing to have, you know, aesthetically. I mean, obviously, mainly it's a hunting knife, really, but
and that was still that was still their boss treated 420, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I put that thing through a lot, and I didn't even know how to sharpen. Yeah, we're talking long time ago. Fantastic blade. I ended up gifting it to somebody long time ago, but yeah, I've been inching my way up in the steels and learning. I don't claim to be an expert, you know. I know a lot of these people out there like to, you know, especially in the comments and stuff. Oh, well, you need this and this and this and what? Look, I'm going to need what I get in experience, and then I'll decide what I want to get next. You know, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
yeah. No, I hear you.
You know,
I hear you for sure.
I'm just saying, you know, it's so confusing. Also, that's another thing. Like, I'm not afraid to tell you I like 14C. I think it's a damn good steel.
Yeah.
And if you're new to the knife world, and that's kind of with my channel, I'm going to kind of integrate that a little bit. Is don't base it just off opinion. Get it, handle it, and feel it for yourself. And, you know, that's kind of what I want to do, is show you, like, this is usable steel, you know, and geometry and all that stuff plays in. You learn that. I'm sure you've learned along the way, you know, it never stops.
No.
You got a true love for it, you know. I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due to people like Metal Complex, because he was one of the channels that I started watching that really got me intrigued with moving forward on purchasing expensive knives and all the awesome things out there, you know, like, and he explains it really, really well. I mean, that's what really got me deeper into it. And then you start seeing all these other more experienced channels out there that kind of help you along the way. You just take the ladder up.
Right.
You know, but I think, what'd you say, the Benchmade 940 was your first one? I think.
Yeah.
What was my first? which wasn't all that long ago. I finally took the plunge, like you said, drop some, you go over the $100 mark, you really you start thinking about really what you want for your first one.
Yeah.
What was it? Well, no, the first one I got was a gift, and it was a Benchmade Infidel. And that was a very special gift for my best buddy.
Yeah.
Probably about 6 years ago. And, D2 steel, the dagger, amazing knife. It really is. I know it's been deployed on multiple trips through several different servicemen used them.
Yeah.
Just like, a bunch of the other models out there. But my first one that I think I took the plunge on was just a couple years ago, and it was the PM2.
Yeah.
I mean, $140. And, Spyderco is like one of those things that aesthetically they're kind of different,
I think that's what was with me, it was just kind of like, oh, that looks weird, it looks odd.
Yeah. And I just knew I would like it, but I just still couldn't convince myself to get it. But I was like, you know what? I bought the Delica actually, and that was my first Spyderco. So, and that was VG10, like you were saying. Fantastic knife. And I think partly due to why that knife is so good is because how thin razor like that blade is, helps that VG10 just works great with it,
I'm pretty sure the Delica was the first Spyderco I had my hands on.
Yeah,
it was loaned to me by somebody, after I'd started the channel. And I was like, I got it, I used it, I was like, okay, all right, now I can kind of see where all this is coming from,
Exactly. That's exactly how it kind of pictured in my mind too. Yeah.
And I mean, until you, okay, at that point, I was still in that budget mind frame, not spending a whole lot on, and Delicas weren't that expensive. Not really. But I just hadn't gone that far. We'll put it that way. Hadn't gone that far.
It's a good one to baby step into.
It is, and I was like, wow, okay. Now I kind of get it. And then I got my hands on a PM2 and I was like, okay, all right. Now, I mean, because it's just a solid knife. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's a solid knife, and the blade and how you can just, get that grip on it.
Yes.
And then you can choke up on it, and you can make this knife do just about anything you want it to do. And it's like, yeah, okay, I was dumb. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I was just, in it. And now I'm very happy I have one. Yeah, no, yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But that is definitely one that I'm very, very glad that I added to my collection, because
absolutely,
it just gets used.
What's your favorite Spyderco that you have now?
You know what? To be perfectly honest with you, and it's not within reach, but I have a Sage 5.
Okay.
That I really do, because it's a little bit smaller. I mean, the Para 3 is good. I have a Para 3 as well, but I really like that Sage 5.
I hear a lot of people, once they get it in hand, they have the same reaction.
I do. I haven't
handled half the amount of Spydercos out there.
Oh no, me either. Me either by far.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I've heard a lot from a lot of people, especially with the type of stuff I look for in a knife. A lot of people are kind of pushed me towards the Manix 2 maybe. I haven't had my hands on one yet. But
I had one, and I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. I think it had, and the weird part about it is, I mean, I like my Benchmades, I like my Axis locks, and the Manix has got the ball bearing lock. It's very similar.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It wasn't for. I had the Sage 5. And I loved that one. And then I got, then I had the maybe if it was the other way around, who knows? But I just liked the Sage 5 so much that I was just like, I mean, that was just me. That was just me.
The good thing is, good news about, at least with Spyderco, you can go to a lot of retailers now and go in person and handle them.
Oh yeah.
You know, like gun shops and places like that. Or well, I live in Ohio. We got River's Edge Cutlery up in here in northern Columbus. So I have yet to go in there. I didn't even know that place was here for the longest time.
So like, how far are you away?
I'm like 20 minutes outside of East Columbus, but I worked up in Hilliard where they're at. And I had no idea they were even there. And I worked there for like a decade. So come to find out, oh, River's Edge Cutlery is right there. I'm like, really? Like, what the heck?
Oh man.
But so that's
funny.
I think I might go up there one day with Jake, because you know he lives up towards, like, I think the Mansfield area.
Okay.
Out towards that way, but I think maybe me and him might meet up one day and go up there and check some stuff out. But
that would be cool. You're referring to Jake from Ohio State?
Jake from Ohio State, yep.
Right on. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a few guys from the community that's somewhere abouts in Ohio. I didn't realize there were so many. Of course, you know, what's his name? Chris Tanner. I know he's from up there somewhere.
Right.
His channel.
You've got Ohio Knife Lover. I don't remember exactly where he's from. Oh, I mean, Ohio is a decent sized state, so it's not like just because you're in Ohio, you're not next door. You know what I mean?
No, I mean,
but I mean, I can't remember exactly where it is, but there are quite a few, you know, that I do know that are from the Ohio area, and that's cool. You know, I mean, here, like right here, the longer I'm in it, I find guys, you know, like Brad, Mild Mannered EDC. He's just kind of right down the road from me. He's probably 45 miles away. And him and I have actually met up at like Bass Pro Shop and went and checked out their knives and stuff like that, which that's fun. That's very cool.
Oh yeah.
To be able to do that. But now as far as like knife stores and stuff, that's really kind of what we have here. You know, it's the Bass Pro Shop, the Cabela's, the Sportsman's Warehouse. That's the big one out here. Those are, you know, unfortunately, I'm not next to Smoky Mountain Knife Works or, you know, Southern Edge Knife Works or, you know, River's Edge Cutlery. I wish, but no.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
I'll be honest with you. A lot of these places I didn't even know existed until I started getting online and started watching Blade HQ and Knife Center and all this. You're like, holy shit, where all those places come from? You know, but they're there.
Oh yeah, and then I mean, it's like every week I was like, what? It's another new knife store, knife shop. You know, especially online. You know, you just find them. It's like, holy cow, they're just coming out of the woodwork. So, but yeah, I wish we had one a little bit closer. When I went back to Nebraska, I actually met up with Justin, OCD for EDC, and we visited a little one called Omaha Knife. Now that's a little shop.
Oh, okay.
But man, they got a pretty decent selection of knives: Spyderco's, Benchmades, Medfords.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, and it's fun to be able to do that stuff, meet up with people, and
oh, sure, yeah,
go out and check things out like that.
Yeah, I really wanted to go to the Blade show, but had to miss out on that one.
Yeah, it just didn't work out for me either. Not this year. I was all set up to go last year, and then everything got shut down, and it wasn't in the cards for this year. But all set up to go to Blade Show West. I am looking forward to that. So just hopefully nothing crazy happens, and I can't. But I got plane tickets and everything. I'm ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's and kind of me and what. That's the big thing about it for me is the community and the people around and the people you meet and share. Well, just like doing that big BPEX channel chat. That was so much fun. That was so much fun. And it gets a little hectic when you have that many people. It does.
I thought it worked out pretty well.
It did. It went really well. And I was very happy with the way it turned out. Don't get me wrong. And I would love to do it again.
But yeah, I can see where it gets a little hairy,
Well, for me, I'm trying to keep up with everybody and make sure, and I'm trying to make sure everybody gets time. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And that can get a little hard. I mean, and that's just due to people's you have people that are more outgoing and outspoken than other people are. you know, and that's just, I mean, that's just the people's personalities. And I have to kind of, when you have a large group like that, you know, you have to like, well, what do you think about that, Jack? You know, you have to make sure the guys, you know, people are getting in there. And I mean, I don't know, Jack may be just like, oh, no, I'm good. You know, I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just having fun listening to, you know, it's just, it just comes down to people's personalities and stuff. But
sure.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I mean, it's definitely going to be a thing going into the future with live streaming and stuff, because that's the way it's going.
Yeah, it sure
Video
seems like that.
Yep. So I definitely look forward to doing more things like that, and getting on there and meeting other people out there too.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely exhilarating finding, at least for me, when I followed my channels, like I said, you got your Nick Shabazz, your Complex, your just those are always the first two on mine because I followed them for so long. But and then you discover different channels and other people. There's a lot of people out there growing at rapid rates and just riding that freaking social media train all the way through.
Oh, and it's just it. It's crazy how that happens with some, like Jake, Bearded Gear. He decided he was just gonna make it that's his job now.
Oh yeah,
is his channel.
Nice.
And creating content and stuff like that. And if you can do that, and
oh, that's great,
and make it work, it's awesome. I would love to do it. I would love to be able to do that. I'm not that creative though. let's just call it. Let's just tell it like it is. I struggle. I think about something and I'm like, okay. And next thing I know, I finally come up with an idea and I'm like, oh well, that's been done.
Yeah.
And I think about
content. I mean, I'll be honest, everybody's spinning it around, I mean,
oh yeah,
there's so many, top 5, top 10 videos and all these things, but
those are very popular. And the reason they are is because viewers can see a lot of different stuff at one time.
Exactly.
And I think that's why they are so popular. And it's, I don't know. Are you familiar with the Knife Beater?
That's exactly who I was thinking
of. The Knife Beater.
Dude, he pumps them out, man.
He is the top whatever list maker.
Yeah.
And they're good. He makes some really good ones.
He does.
He comes up with some very good ones. I think one of the last ones he did was what? It was the top 20 budget knives under $20 or at $20, Man, those are just terrific videos for people that are just starting out to watch, because that gives them just max content all at once.
Yeah, and I mean it's great to see all. I have tons of channels I watch. And when I use the big names like Complex and Shabazz, I don't mean to discredit anybody else out there. Those are just two guys. Well, not necessarily Shabazz, but Complex. I really enjoy his. Not just his content, but how you can relate to a lot of the stuff he's talking about, but he also pumps a lot of information in there. And he has a very wide spectrum of stuff that he shows on there. Sure. And, there's other channels that do only high end. There's other channels that do only tactical. There's only one,
right.
The list goes on and on and on. But for me, it was really exciting to find out that there are actually people out there that get excited about knives, and other stuff like that. And it's that's just the coolest thing in the world. And then when you get a big group together like we did, on there, it's a pretty cool thing.
Oh, it's always fun when you get together and talk about like-minded individuals.
Absolutely.
Things you guys, things you love and have in common and so forth. So like right now, if I were to ask you for a snapshot of what you're looking at, what would it be?
What I'm looking at as
far as knives and stuff, are you trending towards one specific, or are you trying to broaden your horizons?
No, that's a good question, because I know when I started this channel, my name, I kind of wanted to kick myself because the whole name Suburban Tactical Nation, I got to second guessing myself on the tactical part, because I didn't want people to think, oh, it's only tactical things only. And that's not that's not my intentions.
Sure.
But I kind of added that in there because I wanted to do a little more content than just tabletop down knife reviews. And I wanted to grow it into, hey, we just built a house a couple years ago out here where I live. And I have a little wooded area back there, and it's a perfect place to do photography, test some stuff out. I build fires, very minor bushcraft. I use that word lightly because I'm not a bushcrafter.
Right.
But, I like to get a fire going. I like to do all different methods and learn and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to incorporate that into the channel along with other topics to talk about and, all that stuff and such. But what I'm looking at towards knives, I mean, really, I like getting my hands on anything I can just to see what's different,
experience it.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I've been blessed to have a little bit extra money over the past couple of years, with my wife's business. We both work full time also, and we've had a little extra money here and there. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to roll with this idea, with this content, and just get different stuff. And I'm trying to think here. I mean, I guess the goal is eventually to get some nicer knives in hand, like, Sabenzas and Henderers and, the Holy Trinity Grail knives that not everybody has. Let's be real. Not everybody has a chance to get one of those.
Of course. Of course.
But yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I think I'm kind of leaning towards checking other multi-tools and things like that out for a little while. But I know knives are definitely going to be a mainstay of the channel, to come. But definitely look forward to checking out different tools and stuff too, and different gear and whatever I come across. I'm going to try to, anything that I like and I think's worth looking at, I'll pop a video up for it usually.
And it's good, because you had mentioned Dom, that's kind of his focus is more the tool and that type of side of it. It's good to have somebody like that and can talk to and
absolutely,
bounce stuff off of and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. You've got more experience with it. Give me some pros and cons of your experience so I can make my own decision, and that's awesome.
And that's exactly kind of what with my channel, I never really came out and said, I'm only looking at knives. Right. I mean, I do have lots of knife content right now because they've been piling up, but I love that aspect of it. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, I like everything. I like ingenuity and engineering and finding out what's out there. It doesn't have to be the best materials in the world. I like to see what's out there. Like Dominic has really brought a lot of that to the table with some of these budget multi-tool knives, and he's saying, hey, look guys, Leatherman needs to pick up their game because these people, this one tool coming out of China is like really saying, hey, we can do it too,
Right.
No offense towards either one, Leatherman or whatever the company is, but it's cool to see different things out there. And not everybody can afford a $150 multi-tool or
Right.
So I like to reach that whole spectrum of audience. Hopefully is my goal to get everybody in there that can get a little bit of something in there,
Well, and that's kind of like me, the title EDC is in my title. Yeah, I am 90% probably knife focused. And the reason for that is because, well, there's a lot of dang knives out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's definitely no shortage.
no, and especially now, new companies coming up, I mean, you've got companies that coming on the scene like Asher and Finch and Off Grid. And I mean, you can just keep going. They just keep coming. And some companies that are making some really, really good stuff.
Well, yeah. And let's not forget these Kickstarter programs.
Exactly. That's another one. I mean, like the Solaris for
that's
David,
exactly
Blade
what
Banner.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm going to have a video coming up sooner than later on that. I purchased one. I think I was watching Little Fit Devil one evening, and one of the moderators happened to pop up. There was one for sale, and I jumped on it, grabbed it.
Nice.
That's a good knife, man. That is really a good knife, and I wish there were more out there so other people could get their hands on it.
Right.
Because I was really kind of impressed with it.
I hope that's something that's coming. I think. I haven't talked to David seriously about his knife making, and it's been a little bit,
Yeah.
He's definitely not, from what I've seen, he's not stopping. So I mean, I'm not gonna say too much because I'm not gonna. That's his story. That's his story to tell. Sure. You know what I mean? But he's He's not stopping, and I hope, from the sounds of it, he's not, which is very cool because, and that was the one thing that I loved about that knife is because, you know, he was a reviewer and he's like, you know, I like this and I like this and I like this on a knife. And then he's like, well, okay, if I like that stuff on a knife, why don't I make one? And he did. And I'm like, dang.
And I respect the hell out of that.
Oh, of course. You know? Definitely. I mean, it's not something I've done. So, you know, I mean, yeah, I can sit here and say all I want about knives. And sure, I do like certain things on knives, you know, and you know, it was one of the things, or one of the kind of the, I guess, negative is the best way to put it, is people said, why are there so many opening options on that knife? You know, you've got a flipper, you've got a thumb stud, you got the button lock. That's what he wanted to make. That's why. Doesn't bother me a bit. I can open that knife pretty much any way I want to.
Well, and I've seen a lot of complaints on it too, saying, well, this little part rattles in it and this and that. And I'm like, look, guys, that's something you also, I got to bring out there for people is it's a brand new company that just came out with a knife. You know how long it took CRKT and Gerber and all these people to come out with their stuff? They all hit hiccups and bumps on the road on the materials. It's also production, you know. You're gonna have little things wrong with it here and there. It's not gonna be perfect, but I think he did really good considering. And one of the things I like about that knife is all the multiple deployments on it. That's kind of what gave it its little, the multi-row bearings. A lot of people probably don't know about that. Yeah. There's multi-row bearings in there. I didn't even know that existed until I read the specs on that. I'm like, okay.
That was another thing, you know, that's one thing he wanted. He wanted multi-row bearings, and it was like, well, right on. If you want it, you're gonna make it, and that's really cool. And you know, as I enjoy the knife, I also like the aspect of the 3 stars for his 3 sons. And I mean, he ties a lot of.
He's got a cool story,
yeah. He ties a lot of himself into that knife, and kind of. Okay, I'll throw it out there, you know, with Finch and stuff like that. That's why I'm attracted to them so much, is their knives are great and their quality, but it's also the story that comes along with them. And
I love a backstory to that stuff.
Exactly.
I kind of back that up with when I mentioned Gerber and CRKT. I didn't mean to say that they're putting all this great, you know, top stuff out, but it's more like they're putting all this stuff out. But I think that knife he came out with crushes a lot of that stuff those companies like that do have, or, you know, you take your pick, and they're big companies. This guy came out of nowhere, came out with this program, and boom, he came out with this thing. And I was just like, it comes down to supply and demand also, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt.
And that's why can't I get that? Well, because look at Vero, look at all these other guys, you know?
Right.
Like Lynch, matter of fact, since I just got my hands on that pry bar.
Yeah.
You know, supply and demand, man. And just the way it is.
So, okay, you mentioned pry bar and stuff. Are pocket tools something you have really, other than a multi-tool? Are you a pry bar kind of 3-in-1 tool type guy?
I've just kind of been exploring that, and that's
why
I waited. That's why I waited so long for the Casey Lynch bar. And I know, you know, everybody's like, oh, there's cheaper ones, there's better ones, blah blah. Okay, that's cool, but I like Lynch, so I bought one.
Yeah.
And I was glad I had the money at the time to do it, and I don't regret it for a second, because I've used it every day at work, other places, and it's holding up good. And I like the lightweight. Yeah, so I do like the. I think the other one I had was like really my first one was the not that long ago was the Tucson multi-tool titanium. I showed it to you when we had the big chat.
Yes.
But it just ended up being too bulky, so I just slipped it down inside my tool bag for home.
Sure.
You know, it's a good tool, but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that right now.
I'm kind of off and on.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it's not something I have on me every day. It's not. But I do carry them every once in a while.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Oh, what's he getting? What's he gonna show us?
Sorry, I got Jake from Ohio State actually sent me some loaners to check out.
Okay.
And matter of fact, one of the things he sent me was this Gerber pry bar slash. I'm not sure what the name of this thing is, but it's got the razor
Okay.
on it,
Okay.
and then it's got the pry on it.
Oh yeah, I can't think of the name.
I
either.
can't remember the daggone name on it. Maybe post it down in the link later on, but the link down below. This thing's pretty solid. I was actually the actual pry piece on it. It's actually got a good sized claw on it.
Oh yeah, it does.
And it's like real solid. It feels like G10. I mean, I don't know if it's plastic or what. Sorry, I'm trying to get a.
It's all right.
And it's got like, it actually uses the razor.
Yep. Yep.
As a
belt cutter,
like a belt cutter or cord. You could probably even splice. You could even probably splice wire with that if you wanted to. But
yeah.
And it's got, you just put your standard razor blade in it.
Sure.
This thing's pretty darn solid, man. I'm probably gonna grab one of these just because. Nothing fancy, but it seems like a really solid tool. So stuff like that, yeah, I'm kind of inching closer into getting different stuff.
Yeah, it's like I've said, it's something I've had. What is it? The Ruck. That's probably the one I've carried the most because it's basically just a little utility blade.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
But I don't. Well, like I said, and a lot of times it's because I go back to that. A lot of times at work I have to empty all my pockets and all that stuff, and it just, yeah,
I get it.
I don't carry a lot of that stuff a lot of the time, but I do from time to time.
Sure.
But what about flashlights? Are you a flashlight guy?
I've got a few. Right now, I mean, I lean heavily on Olight.
Yeah.
And because of the size. And
it's
what is it? The
is that the i3?
The i3T.
Yeah.
i3T EOS.
Great size light.
Super easy. It gets my job done for whatever I need mostly throughout the day.
Oh yeah.
I've got that. I got one that came in going gear. I think it was the Mini Warrior 2 or the Mini Warrior.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. And that's a fantastic light. However, carrying it in my pocket, I kind of found that, it doesn't work out too well because it likes to kick on. It's got a side switch and a tail switch.
Yeah.
And I found out that I was activating it on accident, and it was like melting stuff in my pocket because it's so powerful,
Yeah, that is kind of one of the downsides to that one. I think a lot of people have figured that one out the hard. It's a good light. I like it. But
I never understood the running joke with people saying catching you on fire and all that until I got one.
Right.
I said, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. I tell you what, that little i3E EOS on my keychain, that is probably the most used light I have because it's so small, but it's pushing out about 100 lumens out of that little tiny. I mean, and it's got a good focus little light. I love those little lights. I give them away all the time. I don't know. I've probably bought at least 20 of those things and given them away on the channel to my family. Just a great little light. And for $10, man, you can't go wrong.
No. Matter of fact, I got the one that I just opened on the gear, going gear, and it was the Rovivon.
Yeah.
That's a bad little light too, man.
Now, see, Rovivon is one I haven't got my hands on yet. That's one I need to take a look at and just kind of see what's out there.
It's worth it. I wasn't sure when I first, I opened it up in the package. I was kind of looking at it like, of course I never heard of it, but I think Going Gear, they kind of specialize in some of the flashlight game as far as like, they got a lot of nice, but they got a lot of flashlights too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause I went and checked their store out and, I just so happened to get that in the package and it's a good light, I got it on my keychain. It's really accessibility and ease of carry really. And a keychain, it fits perfect.
Oh, sure. And I mean, I think for most of us, that's it. What it all boils down to. Now, some of those smaller, I mean, it's just, and not even Olight, but I mean, Olight is pretty much right now the brand of
Yeah.
flashlight, I think, and sort of setting the pace for everybody else, so to speak. And but it's amazing to me the amount of light that you're getting out of these small flashlights.
Oh, it's
It's
incredible.
insane.
You know, you
You're
you don't
talking
really,
a
unless you've
thousand
never
lumens.
yeah, if you've never handled one. I mean, when I first got my first Olight, I didn't know that was even. I was like, okay, well, that's probably why these things are so popular now. So
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I don't have an Olight within, but I mean, even this, you know, I've got this, even this Brynite. I've got this Brynite PT18 here that really became one that I really liked as far as the home. For the home, it's too big to carry EDC.
yeah,
It is. I mean, it's too big for that.
yeah,
I mean, you've got
it's
a
like the
big,
Warrior. Yeah,
yeah, you know, I mean, it's a good club, you know, if you had to, I mean, you could, you know, but the one thing I like about this one is it's got a one-touch strobe,
yeah.
and I think that's a very good option to have for home protection,
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
because it's, you know, I mean, it's just bang, it's there, you can disorient people and you can mess with the dog and all that other good stuff. No,
the laser
but
pointer.
yeah, yeah, but no, and it's, I do like it for that aspect for sure. But I mean, right now, yeah, it's kind of like we were talking about Civivi. I think Olight is driving everybody else, and I mean, then no, I know a lot of people like their Streamlights, you know, and
Yeah.
no disrespect there again, Streamlight's not one that I've had as much experience with, so need to get my hands on a few more of those as well. It's there again. There is quite a few of them too. Flashlights out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of lights out there. I mean, the reason I jumped on, like I said, a couple more Olights, like I got a couple different flavors. I got the kind of bronze looking one there, and I got the
Yep.
black one.
Yep.
Just because I experienced the one, I liked it, and I got a couple more.
Yeah.
I know there's a bunch out there. I know. It's all good.
So are you a Hank guy? Have you got into the Hank game at all?
Just started.
Yeah.
See, I got a couple of them laying, I think, here, or one of them. First one I got was the Hanks by Hank.
Yeah. Yep.
I grabbed. Of course, I'm have to get the camo, right?
Oh,
Urban
I've got
camo.
a couple. I got a couple. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I grabbed here it is, the Shadowborn.
There
Hank.
you go.
I kept seeing these on everybody's channel, and I kept I was like, man, the design is really fabulous on those.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was Etsy shop. So, yeah, I just got the Dark Nebula, I think is what it's called.
Oh yeah.
It's a really, really nice, got really good stitching on it, you know.
Oh yeah.
Really unique. I know, I mean, Hanks are like a dime a dozen now too days, but
oh yeah,
those are my first two.
Yeah. I've got a few, I'll say.
A few?
A few. I'll say a few. But yeah, I carry them quite often, and it's more, you know, for, you know, just cleaning off the knife or cleaning, you know, and a lot of them put the really nice microfiber on the back of them. So, I mean, it works for cleaning off your phone, your glasses.
Yeah, they can be handy.
They can definitely be handy.
I mean, granted, they're also aesthetically pleasing for your knife display.
Well, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Makes a good Instagram picture, right?
Yeah, I did a few. I'm like, oh boy. But yeah, they're cool. See Hanks, flashlights.
Pocket tools. We talked about pocket tools.
Yeah. And then I'd like to start exploring a little more into I mean, I wanted to get into sharpening and doing some stuff like that and doing some disassemblies and whatnot, but
right.
I don't know if it's just me. I just didn't necessarily feel confident enough to really want to record it, because I guess when I'm doing my stuff, my maintenance, I'm not so much a talker, you know?
Right.
Whereas I keep up with the dialogue. I'm just saying,
I'm right there with you. I'm pretty much the exact same way. It's not something I really have done much of. I did a couple of sharpenings, you know, and that was really just because um, Work Sharp had kind of. Oh, I talked to him. Oh, what was it? I talked to Work Sharp like back in 2019 and at Blade Show West, and
Yeah.
I just said, man, I've had the original knife and tool sharpener, the little belt sharpener. I found that it worked really well for me. Had to be careful a little bit with your knives if if you don't work, just because stuff builds up and it can scratch the blade, and that's not a big issue. You know what I mean?
You talking about the Ken Onion one?
Not the Ken Onion one, the original one.
Okay.
The smaller, it's a little bit smaller version, and it just worked really well for me in sharpening.
Yeah.
And I talked to him, and then, man, all of a sudden, I asked him, I reached out to him, and because I do, the swag bags and stuff for SKL. I was like, hey, would you mind sending me some stickers? And they said, sure. So they sent me some stickers, and then the next thing I know, dude, they're sending me sharpeners to check out.
That's awesome.
I'm like, okay, this is I can handle this. This is cool, but it's just kind of worked out that way. And I did a couple of sharpening videos, just kind of showing the sharpeners and stuff and what's coming out. I'm definitely not. I don't plan on. I'm doing a sharpening line of videos. That's not me. That's that's just not what I do.
No, it's not for everybody, and you gotta. I mean, it takes a lot of confidence, and I mean, it does. I think it comes down experience. I mean,
yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I've got a lot of the work sharps. That was the first. I like the diamond stones, so that it works for me.
Yep.
But if you don't know what you're doing, I've wrecked several knives. So I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't claim to be the pro, but I'm definitely getting better with it. And I've also learned that the honing process is, if you keep up with it, is a lot easier than having to take steel off your knife.
Oh yeah. If you strop and do that type of thing, you lengthen the life of your knife. Really. I mean, if you're not like pounding on it and chipping the blade all the time and doing that type of thing, it's easy enough to do. And we're talking about sharpening. I had a guy here just very recently at work say, hey, I want to know, how did he say it? He was like, what kind of sharpener should I get? And I was like, dude, that's a loaded question.
Absolutely.
I mean, because I can tell you 53 different sharpeners that you could probably use, and, they all work, but are they going to work for you?
Yeah.
It really comes down to, some people are really good and love and use nothing other than water stones. Then there's the adjustable angle guys, your KME guys, and it's another great system, and then you've got guys that are more confident with, like me, with that belt, with the Work Sharp for so long.
Sure.
That's what worked for me. And you really have to find that.
Yeah, and I mean, people got to keep in mind, there's a learning curve. There's definitely a learning curve, and you got to sharpening is patience, man. That's what it is, 100%. And if you don't got patience, send them to somebody that does.
Well, and that's kind of my situation, to be perfectly honest with you, because with the belt sharpener, I could get a good edge fairly quickly. You know what I mean? And that's just what worked for me. But yes, you are totally right. Patience is a virtue, definitely, when it comes to sharpening.
Oh yeah. And I mean, the one I will say, the one that I use often is the field sharpener here.
Sure.
Because it's got everything on it.
Yep.
I mean, I strop daily on this thing.
Yep.
I'm not carrying big hunting knives or anything like that. I use my stuff outside when I'm messing around and whatnot and processing wood and all that. But little ceramic and a little bit of strop goes a long way, just for 3 or 4 minutes of your day out of it.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And that's the same way with me. I'm not doing anything. Rope. That's my biggest. That's the thing I'm cutting the most is rope, and a little. It doesn't. Unless you got a bad blade, you're not going to get much chipping or anything like that when you're cutting rope.
Yeah.
But a good strop at the end of the day, and you're pretty much ready to go.
Yeah.
Again. So.
Yeah, but that's definitely something I like to practice and always learn on. And
Yeah.
like I said, maybe one day we'll get a sharpening video out there or something. I know Mr. Jared Neves is quite the guy to follow on his videos. He's pretty intuitive and
does very well.
Got a lot of good stuff on there that I think you can follow along pretty easy.
BJ Hill's another one. Hilltop Knives and Gear, and even Justin, Justin, OCD for EDC does another. He does pretty darn well.
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. Yep.
And it's kind of like anything else. You kind of have a knack for it, and it just becomes natural. And I'm not the most coordinated person in the world. So, it just kind of, I've tried stones and I just, you want to talk about not doing real well on knives, and but there again, practice. That's how you're going to get, that's how you're going to get better.
Yeah. I've got the Kin Onion belt sharpener. I also got I ended up buying the attachment to it for like tools and axes and stuff like that.
Sure.
I haven't really had time with it because I got it last summer and just life goes on, and haven't had a lot of time to fool around with it. But I've modded a couple axes I got for the backyard and stuff. But matter of fact, I got a cold steel trail boss here.
Ooh.
And I basically stripped off the crap varnish on it and took off the stuff on the steel and kind of did my own thing to it.
Sure.
This is a good axe, man. You ever watch a guy named Wrangler Star?
A little bit.
He has got some really good stuff on axe information. It kind of inspired me to go get that thing and go to town with it.
Yeah, it looks like you got a couple of them back there.
Yeah, this was actually another one of the battle boxes, a Condor.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
it's good. This is more of like a kind of a splitting hatchet.
Sure.
I guess if you want to call it that, probably sound like an idiot about that, but
looks like it's got a pretty broad head on it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a little more wide convex, and then first one I grabbed was the Husqvarna carpenter's axe.
Oh, there you go.
This thing gets some stuff done for you.
Right on.
So I got a few things like that and learning a little bit. I mainly use the the Lansky puck to sharpen those things.
Oh, sure.
Just a quick little sharpen and stuff. I haven't got brave enough to really throw it on the belt yet.
Right on.
But I've got a few of them. That's all I got's work sharp.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
So far.
What can we expect coming up from Suburban Tactical Nation? Where would you like to go with the channel in the near future?
Near future. Man, I really haven't put too much thought into it other than kind of focusing on getting on with talking with people like you and getting to meet more people, get involved in the community and stuff. Actually, one of my goals and focus is starting. My wife has an online business. I'm kind of gearing towards that. And I'm working on a website right now, which is going to be kind of a informational hub for, knife steels, how to sharpen, safety tips, things like that. That's kind of what I wanted to incorporate in it. And I'm going to try to get a store launched on there also. Probably start with a little small Etsy shop or something like that, but kind of move forward with that. So that's I'm kind of juggling that on the sidelines, preparing for that. But I have a lot of knife reviews on backlog to get up. Probably go over some more stuff like this here. I got a few things from Jake that he sent me. Going to review some of that stuff. And hopefully get on a lot more live feeds and jump in on some more chats and stuff. That's definitely one of my goals for this year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Jack, man, I hate to do it to you, but I think I'm probably going to have to cut her off here. But man, thank you so much for doing this and for coming back on. And I know we talked about it right then and there, where I told you definitely I wanted to get you back on and talk to you and find out a little bit more about Suburban Tactical Nation and what drives it and where the channel's going. I really do appreciate you doing this, man. It's
yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of works into that goal of talking and meeting more people, you know what I mean? And
yeah, it's a blast. And I always like talking knives. Like, I mean, you ask anybody, I'll talk all day long about that stuff. And I don't claim, like I said, my channel's kind of evolving. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm more of a I like sharing my information, but I also like to learn and show that along the way. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Everybody's welcome to chat and come in and talk in the comments and just try to build a stronger community that way and get people out there that that want to learn and kind of feel like they're learning with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, without a doubt. That is pretty much exactly where I am at. I am not an expert, don't claim to be, and I am learning every single day. I learn something new, and that was one of the big reasons why I started. And of course, I mean, I think I try to focus that message on the channel, but it is my channel is community centric.
Yeah,
it is knife centric, but it's community centric. That's what that's why I do the lives and all that stuff, is the community and bringing people together. That is my focus without it. And that's why I love doing these. And, we will definitely have to get, do another, BPEX or whatever, just get a group of people together and have a good time again, because I would definitely love to do that.
Absolutely. And we can follow up and down the road, and I'll show you where I'm at and what's going on in the land of suburbia.
There you go. There you go. So guys, I'm telling you what, you've got to check out Suburban Tactical Nation. There'll be links in the description. Please go check out Jack, see what he's got coming down the line. Explore knives and multi-tools and everything else with him, because when we do that, we all learn together.
Thanks, JB. I really appreciate that. And anytime, let me know.
I will. Thank you so much, my friend. I tell you what, people are going to see this next weekend, but it's this is the fourth weekend. So for everybody, just remember what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you guys all have a great 4th of July, and I'll see you on the next video. And I'll be checking the chat out once it's up there.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.